Precious Wellness. Again, tonight I'm Karen Piper from Precious Wellness. And today we have Patrick. Patrick is a hypnotherapist from Mind Is. So today we're going to talk about debunking the myth of hypnotherapists. Because when I hear the name hypnotherapist, I have a misconception about, these people are going to put you in a trance, you're not going to be in control of yourself. And after speaking to Patrick, I found out that it is not true. It's not as scary as it seems to actually visit a hypnotherapist. So I'm going to get Patrick to share, what does a hypnotherapist do, and do we actually have control of ourselves when we put us into a hypnotic state? So maybe you can tell us a bit about the process. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Karen, for having me again. Hypnotherapy is actually one type of therapy making use of hypnosis. It's entered the stream of psychotherapy. So it's basically addressing the psychological issues that is mostly related and is still formed in part of our mind. And to put it straight is we try to identify the root cause, and that has been planted in our subconscious mind. That is where that is hidden, and that is affecting us without our knowing. So hypnosis is not my control, because when I put the person and I put my client into a hypnotic state, they are in the fully focused and fully relaxed. In fact, with a focus concentration, with their eyes shut, with their brain waves start to slow down, they will feel more relaxed and they feel more connected. So when their mind is clear, when their body is relaxed, it will be very easy, or it will be easier for us to tap into their subconscious mind, where it has a lot of resources. All the past memories has been recorded, like direct recording, without any judgments. And that's where we tap into it and to take out the record. And once we're able to identify the record, that could be the culprit, causing them to exhibit certain form of negative behavior or negative feeling, negative emotions, then we will have what we call the revivification. Work with the client to revisit the scene, and the client, once they get to see the thing again, revisit the scene again, very much that is where the insight and the healing will take place already. Actually, a lot of times they either forget it or they try to not to remember it. It's too painful. But once they are in hypnotic state, they know they're not going to be in any of the harmful situation again. They will see a bit more objective. And when they're able to see more objective, that's where we can start to do the right interpretation. Because last time it was formed under a wrong, given a wrong meaning. Yeah. So we actually make the client into relax so that we can undo the wrong. That is to sum up the hypnosis process.
So let's say a person that is hypnotized, right? So can they choose not to review?
Definitely. They can choose, they can control, they know exactly what is happening. In fact, they are even more aware. Right. Their senses are very clear. And they can choose what they want to share, what they don't want to share. I will respect their view, but if they are good subjects, meaning they have the intention to get well, they will know what to do. Basically, if they don't put in too much of the judgment, because the judgment comes in is from a critical factor, which is still in the conscious mind. Conscious mind is, put it in another way, is that our ego. Our ego don't want to lose the control, because they're trying to protect us in the way, I don't want you to suffer. That's why you make yourself so miserable, whatever. But that is the one that is confining us.
Yeah.
But if you still stay in the rut, that's forever you'll be like self-pitying, whatever. But if you have a different understanding, if you don't have that kind of like bondage, then you will be able to see from a new perspective. And that is where you may feel, or a lot of time the client may feel, they may have such a silly thought that has been bothering them for so long. It was due to some trivial matter or some casual remark.
Right.
But once they're able to see the thing, that was the thing that has planted the seed, then we will help them to clear all those, we'll call it deprogramming. Deprogram those negative things that they have received since young. could be from their parents, from teacher, from their friends, from whatever encounters or some accident, some incident that has caused them the negative things started to take shape. And the negative thing just compound over the time zone.
Right. But for example, like let's say you're talking about there are memories that we tend to block. So whenever a trauma happens, right, we tend to block those memories. So how can being hypnotized help us to face that memory that we already blocked?
We can put the person into the hypnotic state and then put some suggestion first. We say something, but if you find it too hard or too painful, you can distance yourself a little bit, as if you are seeing it happening again. When you see it, like what I mentioned, once you able to see the thing, have the courage to see the things, the healing will start to take place. Because you treat it as a detox process. That was what the poison has been formed. It's a mind detox. When the thing coming up, no doubt it is negative, but that is the part and parcel. You first go in, then when you come out, you will see the thing again. But when you're seeing this time, you may give a different perspective.
So at the end of the day, the person still have to have that courage to face the trauma.
Yeah, if I put it another way, it's like a rubbish that is in your room. The rubbish is there. So once we find out, the stinkiness is because caused by the rubbish in the room. As a hypnotherapist, I will walk the client to find out where the rubbish is and ask the client to pick up the rubbish and throw it away. That will be addressing it once and for all. If the client choose not to do it, they try to use air freshener, they try to stay in the hall, they try to put on a mask, the rubbish is still there. The only way to get it resolved is to help them see where the rubbish is and take it out and then throw it away. That will be the simplest example. Because if you don't do it, it will still be there. You can't predict the rubbish may get more and more rotten, more and more smelly, all these kind of things. If I put it in a crude way, this is the approach.
Yeah, and I think that's very, very important because a lot of times when people face depression, a lot of times they take medication, and taking medication just numbs your feeling.
Yeah.
And I think after talking, with you and understanding what you do, one of the biggest difference with hypnotherapists is that it goes back to the root and the cause of the emotion.
Yeah.
And even though that emotion may be buried in our subconscious mind, that we don't want to remember that trauma or that feeling, because a lot of times we try to forget that past because it brings a feeling of sadness, depression, or fear to actually face the past again, or shame or pride. They say pride and shame is actually what covers that issue. A lot of times pride actually, one thing in my journey I realized that it's actually pride actually is a fake protection that we put on ourselves to say that we are okay and we don't want to deal with it. And I think one of the good things about hypnotherapy is that's why when we go back to the root and identify the cause, be it unforgiveness, be it a wound that needs to be dealt with, then you can actually have real healings rather than cover it up and numbing our feelings with pain. Yeah. Is that true? And is that what you found in your journey?
If you put another analogy, is you have a toothache. You have a toothache and the tooth is decaying already. But if you see doctor, they prescribe you medication, it's just a painkiller. You may suppress it or numb it, but ultimately the toothache may come back and you will get rotten more and more. So if you don't deal with it, you don't take it out, it will just cause more damages down the road. But once in hypnosis is, you don't feel the numb. You don't feel the pain because in hypnosis, one of the stages, you are energetic, you anesthetic, you don't feel the painfulness. Yeah. Physically, you don't feel the painfulness. Mentally, you may also not feel the same emotional thing again. Yeah, you'll be more objective. That's where we can put in. So you have a new understanding. That's why you are willing to go in and revisit the thing, because it's already mentally prepared with it. Because physically we can test. Once the client is in level 4, you pinch them, it's numb. They can't feel the physical thing. Same thing. They won't feel that trauma as well. Then you will be able to see the thing. Or once you realize it's actually not that bad, why it happened, it could be a reason behind. Once they see the reason why it happened, why the other person did this thing to them, because of so and so or whatever reason, they will have a different understanding, or they will have different meaning given to it, instead of the same branches or the feeling or the meaning that have been associated. It's the point to break the wrong association or to give a correct understanding. That's how the healing takes place. Yeah.
And I think what you said about the numbing one is quite interesting, because I didn't know that's why people are able to face their fears or darkness.
Yeah.
So you're saying that as you put them into a hypnotic state, it actually numbs that I don't know, that pain.
They don't feel that emotional that much, as if the thing is like at the end of the world. No.
Right.
If they do, then I can give them the suggestion. You can distance yourself a little bit, see it from a third person. Only when you're okay, then you go back to the first person. We can always switch the role, because it's like a role playing. It's like role playing. The thing is already happened already. The show already happened. We're just going back to rehearse or revisit the thing to show me only, because I may not be the one experience it, but I'm just like an audience. I'm seeing you describing to me. Then I will correct you, give him the necessary coaching, so that you can be the one coaching the younger one, because the wrong meaning was associated with the younger self, not the current one. But the current one have to coach with the younger one. Once the younger one got it, then like the lost energy will then recoup back to the current one. Because the current one, why they end up into this state, because they may have lost some energy or being blocked during the younger days without them knowing. So they are like handphone, their battery is getting lower and lower until the point that they must find a way to recharge. Or how come I keep recharging but the handphone never go back to the full battery? Because they may be charging in the wrong way. They may be addressing it the wrong way altogether. They should just go and find a wall socket instead of relying on a rechargeable battery. You know, the external battery. It's not meant to last. They should charge it up, or they have to change the battery altogether. The battery is already old. It's time to change the battery, or even change a new handphone. So these are all the ways we use the metaphor or analogy. Hardware can refresh, but the mental also need to be refreshed. They cannot be still using a Nokia phone. Not to use not use brand, but it's all time already changed. Like BlackBerry already. The last time may be popular, but their mindset still stuck there. That's where we need to go back in, find the thing and renew them. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I mean, someone told me that you need to replace and renew your mindset. You know, you need to first take it out. I can't remember what's the other. It's actually 3 R's, but one of it is to take out the rubbish, and then you need to replace it with something and renew your mind.
Yeah.
In order to move on in life. Yeah.
Replace is if you feel lost or sad, that is something is missing. So you either find the gap where it is missing in their life, find it to replace it, or if you cannot replace, then is find something else to. I mean, either you can find back the thing, or you cannot. Then you have to find something to replace it.
Yeah. So what is the one more misconception that is very common in your business?
Okay. Hypnosis is sleep. If the person is in hypnotic state, that means they are sleeping. No. If you sleep, it's really sleep. Meaning they cannot interact with me already. If they cannot interact, then you'll be a very expensive sleep. Because we want to put the person into a state when they are relaxed enough and they are able to interact with the hypnotherapist. Because they will get busy. If they are sleeping, then they can't respond back. Then whatever I say, I also cannot make sure he actually take in as a positive direct suggestions. Because we in 2 ways. One is take out the information, correct the wrong, and the other way is put back the right, put in the correct thing that they need to hear. Yeah. So hypnosis is definitely not equal to sleep. Even though in Chinese there's a mian, but it's a wrong thing. Even in Western country, they also try to don't associate hypnosis with sleep that much. Yeah, because when you sleep, then they will totally be unconscious. Because that sleep is, they are entering the delta brainwave. Hypnosis, we try to maintain at the theta brainwave, which is one notch lower than alpha. Alpha is when the
Right.
person start to deep relax, super performance, peak performance states is alpha. But hypnosis, we try to maintain at the theta, that kind of depth.
Right. Okay. So is there any other last things you want to share about the common misconception before I end this session?
Hypnosis is something is like voodoo, like negative connotation, but it's purely scientific, I would have to say. It just work on the brainwave model and also work on the mind. We all know that
Right.
we have conscious mind, we have subconscious
Yeah.
mind, and then we have unconscious mind. Unconscious mind
Yeah.
is taking care of our bodily functions.
Yeah.
So all these conscious, subconscious and unconscious make up 88% of our consciousness. Our conscious mind can only have 12%. So a lot of them is actually power underneath without we knowing, without we noticing. But doesn't mean that they don't exist. It's same as electricity. You can't see it, but doesn't mean that there's no electricity.
That's true.
So it's very scientific. And once we're able to find out the root cause, we address it, then that's where the person can move on again. So it's not something is against anything or religion, whatever.
Yeah. I totally agree. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing with us about those myths, and I'm sure a lot of people will find it useful because I do have those misconceptions as well, and it's been great to talk to you and just clear up those misconceptions that I had,
Yeah, actually, we all go through hypnosis 2 times a day at least. One time is before we fall asleep. That's the split second when we were in theta brainwave, because our brainwave we have to slow down in order to shut down the machine totally. So from beta, alpha, theta, and then go to delta. The other time is when we wake up. So from delta go up to theta, the split second about to wake up, not about to wake up. That's the time we go through hypnosis. Then other time could be when we are daydreaming, when we are reading a very interesting book, when we're watching TV or we're watching a movie, when we are so engrossed by the things, we also get hypnotized by the movie. That's where the advertisements start to seep in. They will play the advertisement. That is the moment of weakness. That they can break into our critical factor, directly hit into our subconscious mind and become like brainwash. So brainwash is work on repetition basis.
Right.
All these are live example of hypnosis, but they will not let you know.
That's quite interesting. But actually, the brain is actually really, really powerful. And actually, I just want to share a story. Actually, I thought I wanted to end it, but actually, I just want to share a story about my journey with how oils and emotions. Because I have this ITOV here, right? And his husband will tell me that it actually acts like a lie detector. It kind of sends electrical pulses into our body and actually get feedback in terms of our temperature, pressure, and it tells me certain oils that I need to support my system. And I still remember this story where I didn't believe about oils and emotions actually because I was so skeptical. It's like, how does it work? How does it work? Until a friend said, actually, no, there's a lot of research to show that the scent of smell can affect a person's emotions. So it goes back to even when we are very, very young, a kid who has their smelly pillow and they don't want to wash that pillow. And one of the reasons why they don't want to wash that pillow is because that smell gives them a sense of security. So people associate, which is interesting because you wonder to yourself, why would that scent give you that security, right? I mean, but it does, it does. And so my story was like, there was in my skeptical state. I was like, people always tell me, there are oils to help you make you feel happy, joy, and things like that. But I didn't believe it until one day I was really down and out throughout the day, and I took out my Adobe, and I did a test on myself, and it says journey on. You need to journey on, and it really spoke to me because that time I was stuck with the issue and I couldn't move on from that issue. Okay, so I thought, okay, never mind. I'll just put this oil called journey on, and I started diffusing it. And after diffusing it without my knowledge, I suddenly, I didn't think much about it. And then all of a sudden I was like, hey, I don't feel stuck anymore. That feeling of heaviness, that feeling of, I don't know, being stuck in a position of not being able to move on just lifted. And I was like, okay, this is just totally weird. I don't know how it worked, but somehow the molecules of the oils kind of helped to unlock whatever mindset that I had, which I couldn't move on from. And I really journey on. So actually, even oils are really, really powerful in terms of with emotions. Yeah, because when you inhale something, it hits our olfactory, bulb, and then it hits our limbic system, and then it triggers memories that's buried in the subconscious mind and help to actually reprogram that memories or unlock that certain.
Yeah, gadget is wonderful in the way it's actually able to measure the frequency, because everything boils down is frequency and energy. If the person is low, the energy is definitely low, and they're vibrating in a low frequency.
Okay, thank you for tonight, and thank you for joining me. And next week, we're gonna talk about one thing that was really interesting that you talked about was how hypnotherapy can help with addiction. That was the first I've ever heard that hypnotherapy can help with addiction. So join me next week to have this interesting session where Patrick will share with us how hypnotherapy can actually help with addiction, such as caffeine addiction, alcohol addiction, and so on. So thank you for tonight, and thank you for watching. So good night.
Bye-bye.